After my visit to Adichanallur, the largest ancient graveyard, which accommodates Pandirajan temple, and performing etymological analysis of the names of the characters of the epic drama, I was pretty sure that Mahabharata war happened near Tirunelveli, and I could surmise the origin of the conflict being the spread of agriculture. It was a war between the Kauravas of the Western Ghats mountain range and the Delta farmers of the east. It is confirmed by the name of Tirunelveli, which was most likely the venue of the first fence in India to protect paddy crop from the grazing cattle of the forest. Obviously, there was a huge forest between the two, and the cattle herders were living in the forest. Krishna, being the leader of the cow herding community, he played a key role in the war. That means Krishna was a chaste Tamil. But unfortunately, there isn't any ancient temple for Krishna in Tamil Nadu, at least in northern Tamil Nadu, which is my home. There might be shrines for Krishna within Vishnu temples, but a dedicated ancient temple for Krishna was not there in northern Tamil Nadu. Even the Parthasarathi temple of Chennai Triplicane is not a Krishna temple. It was originally a Vishnu's Varadarajan temple and fraudulently converted to a Krishna temple. A white moustache was artificially painted on the face of Varadarajan to symbolize a charioteer, as Krishna played a charioteer role in the war. In fact, the word Parthasarathi does not mean charioteer, and it means astronomer and refers only to Vishnu, who was a great astronomer. I was aware of this fraud by 2013 itself, when I published Asivagam videos. Hence, till I started my Mahabharata research, I was of the opinion Krishna belonged to the north. The Telugu people who invaded Tamil Nadu from the northern side, being Krishna worshippers, it supported my earlier understanding that Krishna was from the North India. The most famous South Indian temple for Krishna is Guruvayur temple of Kerala, but none in Tamil Nadu to my knowledge at the time. The very name Krishna being of Tamil origin, it shall prove that he was indeed a Tamil, but need not necessarily mean that he belonged to Tamil Nadu of today, as whole India spoke Tamil 2000 years ago. For instance, the words like Yadava, Dalit, Raja, etc. are of Tamil origin, but did not originate in Tamil Nadu. They are North Indian words. Hence, I am here to establish that Krishna belonged to the south of South India, that is, present-day Tamil Nadu. As Krishna was a cattle herder, I should explain this profession in detail, as the clear understanding of this profession itself would automatically suggest where Krishna belonged to. According to Sanskrit Mahabharata, Krishna is said to belong to Yadu dynasty. If you seek etymology of Yadu, the Sanskrit documents say that Yadu means a mythical king. That itself is a fallacy. The North Indian prominent cattle herders were called Yadavar, that is Yadus. The Sanskrit thieves who stole Mahabharata from Tamils associated Krishna with the cattle herding community of the north, which was called Yadava community, without even understanding what Yadu means. Actually, cattle herding community was not one, but many. Man domesticated 4 types of grazing cattle all over the world. They were cows, buffaloes, goats, and sheep. These cattle formed part of his food in ancient times. The other types of animals that he domesticated were for other utilities, like dogs for hunting, horse for riding, pigeon for messaging, etc. Confining our discussion to Indian landscape, the 4 types of cattle were cow, buffalo, goat, and sheep. Of the last 2 items, the sheep belonged to North India and the goat belonged to South India. Normally, animals were named after the sound they make. The sheep's sound, ya. Obviously, they were named Yadu. Ya, Yadu. The people who herded Yadu were Yadavar or Yadav in Tamil. I say that these belong to North India for the following reasons. They have lots of wool on their body. As North India is a very cold region at least part of the year, these animals possess wool to keep them warm in the winter season. I found from my personal experience that the mucus discharge from the sheep is quite more than the goats in winter season, despite having wool to protect the sheep against cold. Considering the mild winter of the south, this proves that they do not belong to south. Other traits of these animals are, they are innocent animals, they possess mob mentality, they are easy to herd, and they live only on grass. In a nutshell, sheep did not belong to South India and was brought from the north in recent times. Obviously, sheep were not present in Tamil Nadu during the Mahabharata times, and hence Yadavs have nothing to do with Mahabharata. Obviously, the Brahmins did not even understand how Yadu name originated and mistook it for general name of cattle herders, including cow herders. In essence, Yadus were sheep herders and Krishna was a cow herder, and hence obviously it is a terrible fallacy to call Krishna a Yadu. Krishna did not belong to Yadu dynasty. We shall now take up the goat. It is mostly blackish in color and it doesn't have wool. As South India is a tropical region, these animals did not need wool to keep them warm, and they are blackish in color as South India is always a warm region. Obviously, goat originally belonged to southern regions. These goats are very intelligent and hence very difficult to control. They don't have mob mentality like the sheep and are individualistic animals. That's why it is very difficult to herd these animals unlike the sheep. They climb trees and eat variety of herbs, and hence their flesh has medicinal properties. Man learnt medicine from these goats. The Siddha medicine of Tamils originated from these animals only. As these animals sound meh, these animals were called mesam, and mesam herding population was called mason, mayan or mayor. However, the words mason, mayan or mayor are no longer the names of goat herders, but they are retained as titles of headmen of cities. As goat herding is difficult, so is controlling the city people who are educated and individualistic. Hence, administrators of cities were called after the goat herders, and hence the English word mayor evolved out of goat. As a mason administers sitting on tables, the table is called in Tamil as mesai. Mason sits on mesai, a symbol of authority. The Freemasons called themselves as mason after the goat only, as a mason means a skilled controller of population. All the secret societies are the branches of the Freemasons, as their only goal is the ruthless control of the world. The proof that the Freemasons are called after the goat is the Baphomet, which is the symbol of Illuminati, the core group of Freemasons. This Baphomet is nothing but a goat. The word Baphomet is a corruption of the original word Mahomet, which in Tamil means Mahamede, that is, a great intellectual. The building construction supervisor is called Mason or Mestri in Tamil, which literally means person sitting at the table, and hence Freemasons erroneously thought that they belong to construction craft, which is really not true. All these words are related to goats, as the goat herder called Mason is a very skillful controller. These things prove that Tamil culture was the original culture, and all other cultures, good or bad, evolved out of it due to migration and subsequent habitualization to the new environment. As goats are voracious eaters and completely consume a plant, the Tamil word for grazing evolved out of these goats, and it is called mechal. Mesam, mechal. I said that goat herding population was originally called as mason, mayan or mayor, etc. However, later on they were called konars. I should now explain how this new nomenclature evolved. All of the cattle herders were using a stick to control their herds. It was about 3 or 4 feet long and handy. Cow herders, buffalo herders, and the sheep herders had this type of sticks, and these are usually made of bamboo as it is of lightweight while being very hard. However, the goat herders were having a unique stick which was about 10 feet long with a hook at one end. I have already said that the goats eat most herbs and tree leaves. The tree leaves are an important fodder for these animals. Hence, the goat herders, unlike the other herders, used long poles to pluck small branches of trees to feed their goats. Obviously, these goat herders were called after their peculiar possession. The bamboo stick is generally called coal, and hence the goat herders were called kolar, meaning possessor of coal. Hence, the goat herding population was originally called kolar, which deformed to konar in the course of time with a usual deformation of L sound to N sound. That's how the word konar evolved. The South Indian goat herders were called konars. There is an interesting fact about these konars. There is a word kolaru in Tamil which means trouble, complication, nuisance, etc. This Tamil word kolaru has relevance to Mahabharata, and it originated from Mahabharata conflict. I have been saying that the goat herders opposed the spread of agriculture in those times. Obviously, they used to herd their goats into the agricultural land stealthily, causing severe damage to the crops. They purposefully did it to discourage the spread of agriculture. Thus, these goat herders had always been the source of trouble and nuisance for the agriculturists. As the goat herders were called kolar, these kinds of troubles, nuisance, and complications were called after them. Hence, the problems created by kolars were named kolaru. This is the first time that we understand the evolution of the word kolaru as a byproduct of Mahabharata research. From the above, we understand that the sheep belonged to North India and the sheep herders were called Yadavs, but later on collectively represented all cattle herders. The goats belonged to South India and the goat herders were initially called by the names Mason, Mayan, and Mayer, and later called as kolars and ultimately as konars. We shall now consider the cow herders. The cows make the sound ma. Obviously, the cow herder should have been originally called Mayan, Mayon, or Mayer. That's how Krishna was called Mayon. This is the proper etymology of the word Mayon, which means Krishna. He was also called Mayavan, which again means possessor of cows. However, only Krishna continues to be called as Mayon or Mayavan, but the common cowherders are now called as Ayers. Except Krishna, all the later cowherders are called Ayers for the past 2000 years at least, and it is a pity that we don't even know why Krishna was called Mayon or Mayavan. I have solved the name puzzle of Krishna for the first time. For completeness, I should explain how the new nomenclature Ayer evolved. It is extremely interesting to know how this word evolved. The word Ayers mean milkers using fingers. We shall see in detail how this word evolved as this has larger relevance. The word Ayer has a lot of commonality with the following words. Aya, nursing maid. Aya, the grandmother. I, a Tamil verb denoting selective picking. Aivu, research or investigation. Aindu, the number 5. How these words evolved and how these words are related. When we come across a repulsive object, say a human shit, we scream "I" as an expression of disapproval. I had already demonstrated in the video Amazing Primitive History of Mankind that the sounds and the related events make up new words, and hence the words are nothing but the sounds that represent the respective particular events. Aya, the lady nurse, screams "I" and cleans up the pussy wounds of patient or cleans up the shit of babies in hospitals. She is obviously called Aya after the sound she makes. For the same reason, the grandma is also called Aya as she does similar service to her grandchildren out of affection. We should now consider another specific event. I am using groundnut as a symbolic representation of similar events. The groundnuts are at the roots of the plant, and that's the reason it is called groundnut. When we pluck the groundnut plant from the ground, it comes with wet and moist mud, which is repulsive, and we obviously make the sound "I." But what we do afterwards? We selectively pick good nuts from the plant, rejecting the defective ones. The sound "I" is followed by the event of picking the right material from the bunch. Hence, the action of picking the right material from a bunch is called "I," which was a sound that preceded this action. Hence, the word "I" means pick right material from the bunch, which is a verb in Tamil. Aivu. How do we pick the right one? We investigate first and then decide which is right. That means we investigate or research the bunch before plucking. That's how the word Aivu evolved, which means research or investigation. Aindu. We use the 5 fingers both while plucking the groundnut plant and in selectively picking the right peanut. As the action of Aidal involves 5 fingers, the Tamil word for number 5 evolved out of I sound, and it is Aindu which deformed to Aindu. That's how the word for number 5 evolved. Ayer. The cowherds were milking the cows with their fingers. The verb "I" means picking the right object from the bunch. Here, the cows have a bunch of teats, and the cowherder selects a teat at a time from the bunch and milks with his fingers. The person who performs this eyeing action is called ayer, just like climbing action is performed by the climber. Ayer. We have successfully solved the etymology of ayer, which refers to cow herders. The buffalo herders are called oers. These buffaloes make the sound meh, which is a long drawn sound. This sound is neither similar to goats' meh sound nor the cow's ma sound, and it sounds bizarre. Obviously, the herders of these cattle were not called after the sound that these animals make. As these are also milking, the buffalo herders were also called ayers just like cow herders. But these buffaloes were found mostly in Western Ghat regions. In fact, Mysore was named after buffalo as the region is having very large population of buffaloes even today. Mysore region was called Erumayur 2000 years ago after the name of buffalo in Tamil, which is Erumai. Even the current name Mysore evolved out of Mahisam, which is another name of buffalo in Tamil. As the Ayar name originated from milking action, and as these beasts were also milking, the buffalo herders were also called Ayars. But unfortunately, the Ghat region people cannot pronounce A sound properly. They pronounce A sound as O sound. For instance, onion is pronounced by the Malayalis as onion. Office is called by Malayalis as office. Obviously, they pronounced IS as OS. Interestingly, there were only buffaloes in those regions in ancient times, and obviously these OS refer only to the buffalo herders. That's how the word Oyer evolved, which means buffalo herders. Just like sheep herding is very easy compared to goat herding, the buffalo herding is very easy compared to cow herding. Cows are fast moving and individualistic animals, whereas the buffaloes are slow moving and possess mob mentality. Hence, both cows and buffaloes cannot be herded together. Obviously, there were two separate tribes to herd cows and buffaloes, and they were called Ayas and Oyas respectively. In this video, we have established that Krishna did not belong to Yadava clan, and he actually belonged to Ayar clan, and he was an Ayar king. As Yadavas were North Indian tribe, and Krishna not being a member of that clan, it means he did not belong to North India. We would produce more conclusive evidences to prove that Krishna was a Tamil from Tamil Nadu through more videos to be published as a series on Mahabharata.